Thank you, Bilbao, for being here. It's such a great honor. But before we start, I want to talk with you about two topics. But I think it's the wrongest moment of today because we just had lunch, and I have always believed that Spanish people need siesta afterwards, so that's not what we are going to do. So before I introduce myself, I would like you to introduce yourself, but I only have 3 questions. So if there's anybody working for the government, can you please raise? Because I think we can need some movement. People from the government. Yeah, or public sector. Only one? I can't imagine. No? Raise your hand if you're too afraid to. Yes, okay. Are there people working for knowledge institutes? Yeah. Working for knowledge institutes, yes, they're available. Are there people working for a private sector? Yeah. Okay. Or are they just humans interested in the topic? I can't believe it. Are there no humans in this room? Because then I can leave. Are we here with humans on the topic? Because you hardly believe, but it's very important that we look to the future-proofing of our cities from a human perspective. The funny thing is, professionally wise, we are quite stubborn. I've done this for 40 years and I know how to manage my city. I've made products for over 30 years, I know what I'm doing. And I have done a research in a very specific way. Doesn't matter if you can apply it, but I'm the specialist. Well, we are humans. We transform all our lives. We were babies, we became toddlers, we became in puberty, which is probably the largest transition. You became a lover, a husband, a wife. You probably became parents, a mother, a father, or grandparents eventually. You change all your life. So we can change, but from a human perspective. So, I'm a human too, a mother of 2 children, I'm director of innovation, but the most important part is I'm evolving in change processes from a human point of view, based in the city of Amsterdam. So I used the place where I was born to create a more valuable future. And why do I do this? With, of course, a whole team of people. Because we have quite a severe challenge. If you see in the middle line, this is over 500,000 years of Earth existing in our measurements in CO2, temperature, and sea level rise. And what do you see? It is quite the same actually. So when the CO2 level is going up, you see the temperature rising. It is in between of 6 degrees. And you see sea level rise for over 100 meters. Which means that when temperature is rising 1 degree, approximately sea level rise for 16 meters. This is our future challenge, because we are here right now. That's not a very good point of view when you're working for the city of Amsterdam, which is known to be the capital of the Netherlands, literally meaning a low-lying country. So what we can say, we are facing non-traditional safety issues. But what do we do with this? Do we see this already? Yes, we see this. We see it already that we need more pumps to keep our city dry, that we can have extreme stormwater with damages on the public space. Also in dry summers, because we are not suited to be dealing with very hot weather. Nor aren't we with dry weather. But hot weather especially, it's more mobility. So what did we do? We say, okay, we have a severe problem as a city, but we can't solve it alone. We need the collaboration between those 3 professional segments. The government, the private sector, and the Knowledge Institute, and start to moderate in the middle in what's necessary. We started this, of course, with a conversation, because you can't figure this out on your own. You need to create some new type of communication. Because I'm not only interested in making new standards, I'm, from my point of view, also interested in creating new knowledge. Not only for universities, but also for my own organization, and for the or for the private sector. So I need to involve them, and I need to involve the public sector in the creation of new business cases. So where did we start? Well, by making a podcast. And this is a short movie about what we figured out after 1.5 years of recording podcasts together.
We are at a tipping point in the history of our cities. Today, more than half of the world's population live in cities, and by 2050, it is estimated to be more than 2/3. That's 7 billion city dwellers. Meanwhile, urban challenges are becoming more complex, with a number of important transitions taking place. In the future, mayors are therefore not only responsible for the safety, welfare, well-being and prosperity of their citizens, but they must also ensure that our cities are circular, smart, energy neutral and climate adaptive. In this short Mayor's Manual film, we give you a glimpse into the conversations that we conduct for the Mayor's Manual podcast with leaders from knowledge institutions, government and industry. We talk to them about solutions to urban challenges, insights for accelerating transitions, and hopeful visions for the future of cities. We ask these thinkers and doers what they would like to see in the manual of every mayor, and what urgent and important advice they have for cities globally. Director of the Department of Engineering for the City of Amsterdam, Nout Verhoeven, recognises the need for acceleration of transitions.
Om de grote transitieopgaves echt te doen, is er een hele grote omslag nodig. Die lijkt niet groot, maar is het wel. Echte vernieuwing, echt onderhoud bestaat niet meer. Bij elke opgave die wij doen om de stad op peil te houden, zullen we tegelijk moeten nadenken hoe we hem veranderen. Welke wijzigingen, vernieuwingen brengen we aan in dit simpele onderhoudsproject? En dat vraagt niet alleen iets van de techniek en de inhoud. Dat vraagt niet alleen iets van de aansturing en organisatie, maar dat vraagt ook iets van het bestuur en de governance op het gebied van geld.
In the conversations last year, many important questions emerged. How can we design our cities to reach a zero-waste society, where we build in an energy-neutral way, where we intelligently use electric public transport and cleverly manage energy? How do we address challenges around urban food security? How do we confront climate change, inequality, and the loss of biodiversity? How do we ensure security in a physical and digital city? And how do the next generation of ambitious urban engineers look at these urban challenges, and what can mayors globally learn from their view? The frontrunners we've spoken to over the past year have already begun their journey. From our conversations, we were able to learn that we already have the knowledge, the capacity, and resources needed to act. With the right attitude, smart use of our skills, and a big dose of confidence, we can start working toward our hopeful future. With this short Mayor's Manual film, we make an appeal to everyone working on cities. Join our mission to transition to a sustainable and inclusive future. Our cities can't wait any longer. This is the time to think big, be courageous, and take bold action.
Please feel free to download the book. We also have a bit longer movie with all the advices. It was just for the first year, and it's starting with a new approach. And this new approach was not only about redesigning cities, and how can we involve everybody, but how can we actually be part of the change and be a new type of leader, but also investors in what is everything needed for the industry. Because we are actually quite a big buyer. So we went looking from our maintenance perspective. And at first, of course, you have to look, what do I have? What do I own as a city? Well, you own probably all your public space. And for us, this means all our roads, all our pavements. Well, you can see over 28 million square meters. But we also had over 300,000 trees, 26 million square meters of parks. And it's all maintained every year annually for approximately €250 million. And then we are doing nothing innovative. Actually, we're stuck in the market with our old tender procedures because we always ask from the market, give us the best price within time. How can they innovate when we have such a stubborn approach? Well, we don't want to collaborate with them. And we don't want to give them the space for new opportunities. We don't want to share risks. No, we're a public investor we don't want to do anything at all. So he said, we have to change this attitude. We use 10% of everything that we do for experiments within our assignment. So it's not that we're not going to make a road, but we're encouraging the private partners to help us to design a 100% circular road, or to work towards new methods of working, instead without any emission, without noise, without pollution, and to be climate adaptive or digital very smart. Of course, then you have to tender differently too, and you need a partner, a knowledge institute, who can help you to see the difference in requirements, because it's quite hard to see the difference between a brick which is normal and a brick which is 100% sustainable. You can see it's both bricks, but there's a whole world behind it which can change the whole industry, because there are investments behind what we ask. How do we change the industry? So that's for our infrastructure assets, but we also are a very big buyer in sports. And we figured out that we even are the 4th user of energy in our city when we look to the sports assignments. And that's not only in lighting, but also, of course, in heating, swimming pools, those kind of things. But it makes sense that we make a change. 40 million euros annually, maintaining, not building anything new. So this is actually what we did. We participate in the development of technology from a point of view that we are, well, looking for the public interest within this technology, giving industrial partners the opportunity to test their new ideas on our assets. So, and it is also at our real estate, and we also ask other developers to participate. But you really need to have the front runners then. And one of a very nice front runner is a small developer in Amsterdam who is maintaining his real estate. And what we did is the following.
Om te zorgen dat Amsterdam leefbaar en veilig blijft voor alle Amsterdammers, is het nodig dat we ons aanpassen aan het veranderend klimaat. Ook daken van gebouwen lenen zich hier uitstekend voor.
Bij Amenouri onderzoeken we een integraal concept om gebouwen te vergroenen. We zuiveren en hergebruiken douchewater en we onderzoeken hoe een goed verdampend blauw-groen dak de opbrengst van zonnepanelen verhoogt door deze te koelen.
Met al deze beplanting helpt het gebouw zichzelf en de zonnepanelen koelen en creëert het een prettige leefomgeving voor de bewoners, gebaseerd op de natuurlijke kringloop van het opvangen, opslaan en hergebruik van water op locatie.
But how do we do this exactly? The roofs, balconies and roof garden are covered with a diverse range of plant species and are supplied with water from a buffer layer that lies underneath the soil. We research whether the solar panels installed above the plants generate more electricity than the solar panels placed on a standard black roof, due to the cooling caused by the evaporation of water by the plants. Because a lot of water is needed for the plants during dry periods, the shower water from the apartments is also collected, filtered and returned to the highest roof, from where it flows to all the roofs and balconies to replenish the water storage for irrigation. Amenouri consists of 2 identical buildings, which is ideal for full-scale comparative research. We compare the amount of solar energy generated on the blue-green roof versus a standard blacktop roof. The water filtration properties of a rooftop wetland compared to a biomembrane reactor water treatment system in the basement, and a fully computer-controlled water management system compared to a more passive system based on natural overflows and gravity. The results of this study are now more important than ever.
Met project Urban Photosynthesis op gebouw Menori laten we zien dat met een krachtige en oprechte samenwerking innovatie werkelijkheid wordt. Geen kwestie van of, maar en. Met dit project willen we laten zien dat het maken van een blauw-groen dak met zonnepanelen haalbaar is en dat het een relevante bijdrage levert aan de klimaatadaptatie van de stad. En we hopen hiermee de industrie aan te moedigen soortgelijke stappen te maken.
Is it so very bright what we are doing? We are reusing tap water, clean tap water, 3 times for showering, for irrigation of the plants, and for cooling of the solar panels while they function better during hot days. I can't share the results with you yet, only from a day in April because it's approved. It's an ongoing research, and we also have to make sure that the research have the capacity to publish, of course, their research, because that's necessary in the scientific world. But on the other hand, well, the first results were quite promising, because what do you see is that on a very sunny day, the panels work better. 2% better. We know right now, we have measured the whole summer, that it's significant better. That means that we all can produce more energy on a roof for benefiting the building, or we can have the same amount of energy with less solar panels. Both are very interesting, of course. And that by the reuse of something that you would otherwise throw away. Shower water, rainwater. Smartly reusing. And it's even this fine measurements that you can see the difference if it's still in the shadow of already in the sun, because of course the 2 buildings are beside each other. This requires this new type of collaboration, but also about interfering in each other's interests, because it's about what can you try out in Amsterdam and scale up, of course, to the world market. So by using our living laboratory, you can probably become a billionaire on the world market. And everybody is free to do so. Use Amsterdam as your stepping stone, as long as it's promising and adjustable for us. If it's benefit for us, if it helps us to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, if it helps us learning about these new types of solutions. So, and before I go to the very boring topic, because you were already in your siesta mode, and that's of course, how do you finance it and how do we create this source of finance, something would make me very proud. This was a project which only took 3 years to incorporate.
En we zoeken eigenlijk steeds vernieuwing in het product sport. En dan met name de sportvelden. Voor ons is het TKI-project van groot belang. Omdat wij hier veel met sport bezig zijn, maar ook naar vernieuwingen zoeken. De gemeente Amsterdam die heeft meegedaan omdat wij eigenlijk zoeken naar oplossingen voor de stad. Wat wij veroorzaken met kunstgrasvelden is gewoon dat het te warm wordt. Dus we hebben echt gezocht naar opties en mogelijkheden om dat op te gaan lossen. Het mooie aan het TKI-project is dat je samenwerkt met productontwikkelaars, onderzoekers en eindgebruikers. Daardoor hebben we eigenlijk een hele mooie keten kunnen maken van labonderzoek, proefvelden op het marineterrein en uiteindelijk een bijna full-scale kunstgrasveld bij Laan van Spartaan.
Toen het TKI-project Citysport werd opgezet, was het voor ons allereerst natuurlijk belangrijk om een koelend kunstgrasveld te creëren. En daarbij was het voor ons erg belangrijk om een kunstgrasveld te ontwikkelen wat ook daadwerkelijk voldoet aan alle normen van de sportbonden. Wij wilden een alternatief vinden die gezonder zou zijn voor de sporter en de stad.
Het hele concept is dat we water wat dus opgeslagen is, dus regenwater wat in die bergingslaag is gevallen, dat door capillaire opstijging weer terugkomt uiteindelijk bij het oppervlak. Nou, daar zitten dus allerlei stapjes tussen en daar moet contact zijn. Die capillaire nalevering via de rug van de mat naar de invul van de mat, dat was eigenlijk een hele grote vraag van gaat dat wel goed?
Op het marineterrein is uitvoerig getest op verdamping. Dat systeem is vervolgens in het laboratorium bij Kiwa Isasport uitvoerig getest op de sporttechnische eigenschappen. Je wil natuurlijk niet alleen maar een veld creëren dat koelt, maar het moet ook qua sporttechnische eigenschappen voldoen. En toen dat door de keuring kwam, is dat trainingsveld geïnstalleerd bij Laan van Spartaan in Amsterdam.
We kwamen vanuit 70 graden warmtestress. En het bleek dat we nu eigenlijk terug waren gekomen tot het afkoelen van zo'n veld. Wat bijna hetzelfde is als een natuurgrasveld. En dat is natuurlijk een ideaal eindresultaat.
En het is natuurlijk fantastisch om te zien dat door de resultaten die we hebben behaald binnen dit project, er inmiddels een sportveld is gerealiseerd in Londen op een dak. Maar zelfs helemaal in Japan een trainingsveld met dezezelfde technologie. En dat is waar we het voor doen.
You can see what I mean by using a stepping stone in Amsterdam. It's actually cooperating, so businesses can go to the world market and we have solutions which works. And this is the difference of 40 degrees Celsius. This is the difference between healthy sporting for children and unhealthy sporting. This is the difference between a heat island effect and just a nice environment, even with something as plastic. But you can understand this really requires this new type of conversation, interest in each other's, the human perspective approach. And as cities, we can't do this with a one-time investment. It's very nice when you have people who like to invest once, but this requires a new way of paying. This is about, are we going to create livable, lovable cities, and is everybody involved, also financially? That's something we most often find quite hard to talk about when we're talking about innovation, but we need to. Because we have seen this morning, there were mayors, there were people from the government with high ambitions. We have the Sustainable Development Goals, we have severe threats. And we know for now that even solutions like city sports won't last forever. We have to rethink this all over. We have to speed up, create new standards, and as soon as we have incorporated these standards, it's probably too late, so we have to adjust again. That's climate change. And that's how our cities become resilient. Also talking about the resources to fund this. So, let's get moving. We are here on Earth for 200,000 years. We have 200 years in industrialized society. We have 20 years to just solve our biggest problems. But I think we can. We have to innovate our socks off, collaborate with everybody possible, scale up, create new standards. Because, dear people of Bilbao, our cities can't wait. We need brave people, bold actions, and fiercely attractive solutions. But you have already started, so I thank you very much.